Hello again. All right, today we're looking at the RHL postulate, which is another way to prove triangles are congruent. At this point, you should have already read section 5.5 in your book, and I hope that you took the time to also, in the book, watch the video that was on page 334. If you haven't done that, now would be a good time. Just stop this video, go back and watch that one. It's going to help explain and actually visually show you why triangles using RHL are congruent. So just a couple of quick things. First is that RHL is actually an example of the donkey theorem, right? The side, side, side. This is the one case of side, side angle that will always work. Okay, it's the one case when it's a right triangle and we have the hypotenuse and the leg. So these are the important bits. We have to have right triangles, and we need to know hypotenuse is congruent and a leg. All right. So if we're looking at two triangles, oops, I guess I can't draw with a highlighter. If we're looking at two right triangles, if we know that the hypotenuse is congruent, then it doesn't matter which of the two legs, provided that it's the corresponding legs. So it could be this, or it could have just been the other leg. It doesn't matter. But you have to have the hypotenuse, a right angle, and one of the two legs. They've got to be the corresponding legs. So you see where it's side, side angle? But it's not just any angle. It's a right angle. That's what makes the difference. And this is where that video in the textbook in section 5.5 on page 334 will help you see why the right angles are important. So you may be wondering, why does it have to be RHL, right? Could it be instead of right hypotenuse leg, right? That's what RHL stands for. Could it be instead of right hypotenuse leg, could it be right leg leg? All right. So in that case, what we'd be looking at is we'd be looking at right leg leg. Well, if it was that setup, wouldn't that just be side, side, side? I didn't mean side, side, side. Wouldn't that be side angle side? And that's why we don't actually use RLL, because that's side angle side. We only use RHL. Okay, so here's how it works. All right, we're given that BC is perpendicular to AC and BD is perpendicular to AD, given. All right, and how I would mark that on my diagram, what that actually gives me is that these are right angles. So that's what I'm going to say. Angle C and angle D are right angles. And that's because perpendicular segments imply right angles. Okay, now this is important. If we know we're going to do this one by RHL, we kind of need to think about some advanced planning here. So let's just double check if we are. Let's see, I also know that AC and AD, and then I think I can do a reflexive. So is that RHL? Let's see, across from the right. Yep, the reflexive is our hypotenuse, and AC and AD, that's a leg. So I'm definitely going to do this one by RHL. So here's a note that that was mentioned in the textbook, but it's worth highlighting again. Okay. We don't have to say that those right angles are actually congruent if we're using RHL, because remember what the letters stand for: right, hypotenuse, leg. So if I say that they're right angles, that's enough. I don't have to then say that they're congruent. This is the only one. If we're going to use side angle side or angle angle side, then in those cases you have to say that the angles are congruent. All right, so I've got my right angles. Then I'm given AC is congruent to AD. That was given. And I did the reflexive. BA congruent to BA. So then I'm done. RHL. I got my right angles in step 2. I got my hypotenuse in step 3. That was the given. Nope, I take that back. My hypotenuse is BA, so that was my reflexive. My leg was the given. And we're done. That's it. That's how RHL works. So if you've read the textbook section 5.5, you've watched the video on page 334 of your textbook, and you've just finished watching this video and finished your note sheet, you can now go ahead and start working on your homework. Okay, see you tomorrow.